What is going on, everybody? We are back with some NFL playoff predictions 2022. The playoff picture is set for the National Football League, and we are starting out in the wild card. Let me know in the comments what you think of these picks. If you disagree or agree, let me know. Feel free to give me your opinion on those. But let's hop into our wild card picks on the NFC side. First off, the first game of the week is going to be Cowboys versus Buccaneers. It's actually the Monday Night Football, so the last game of wild card weekend. We're going to start off in that top right corner. These teams actually met in the first game of the regular season. Cowboys lost that game at home 19-3 to the Buccaneers. Pretty shocking game, as it didn't really tell how the Buccaneers were going to play the rest of the season. Really sputtered after that first opening night. This is due to the run game. I mean, they've had a struggling rush offense all year long. Leonard Fournette's been hurt, dealing with a foot injury for a long time. That offensive line in Tampa Bay has been crumbling week after week. Cowboys coming off a tough loss to the Commanders in Week 18, but still are favored by 3 points in this matchup in Tampa Bay. Tom Brady's never lost to the Cowboys. I think that changes. I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys. Not really an upset because they are favored in this matchup, but like I said, a lot of people are going to be riding the Cowboys, America's team, against Tom Brady, who he's never lost to, but still give me the Cowboys to cap off the wild card weekend. Second game, we're going to go top to bottom. Giants versus the Vikings. This is everyone's favorite upset pick in the first week. These teams also played a couple weeks back. Actually, this is the first time in recent memory that each wildcard game, these teams have played each other at some point during the regular season. So you're getting a matchup we've already seen all across the board this weekend. Vikings favored by 3 points. They won by 3 points in a last-second field goal in Minnesota during their matchup. I think there's some key advantages on both sides of the ball. I think Vikings, their offense and Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, and new tight end TJ Hockenson, I think they have an advantage on the offensive side of the ball. But on defense, the Giants look pretty solid. Kayvon Thibodeau, their star pass rusher, he's been a beast lately. So I can understand wanting to go with the Giants, but I'm not taking them on the road. I like that home field advantage in Minnesota too much. Kirk Cousins is playing out of the noon time slot. So primetime Kirk, I guess you can consider this at 3 o'clock. Cousins, you can't fold again in the playoffs for us. I'm picking the Vikings to get the win in the first round and beat the New York Giants. The Giants haven't really beaten too many playoff teams. They did get a win against the Ravens, and I believe they beat the Jaguars early in the season. Other than that, their wins haven't been that impressive. This team looked good in the future, but right now I'm giving the edge to the offense in Minnesota. Justin Jefferson and that home crowd. Give me Vikings there. Next matchup, Seahawks, 49ers. We've already seen it twice, divisional matchup. 49ers have handled them pretty easily the first 2 times around. Geno Smith gets to the playoffs miraculously with the Lions upset on Sunday Night Football. But I think Mike Shanahan, this offensive line, this defense, way too much for Geno Smith at home. Hard to beat a team 3 times in a season, but I'll take the 49ers. Just way too much firepower for the Seattle Seahawks. They've been a pretty solid defensive season, getting a bunch of sacks as of late, but still, give me Brock Purdy and the 49ers. Just way too many weapons on the field for them. If they can shut down Kenneth Walker, I don't see how Geno Smith's going to be able to air it out on the road in San Francisco. So I'll take the 49ers there. Hopping over to the Chargers and Jaguars. This is the closest game in Vegas' eyes. I think it's a 1-point spread or pick 'em. This is a tough matchup, right? You got 2 great young quarterbacks, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence. The Chargers have to travel all the way across the country, coming from Los Angeles to Jacksonville. That's a far way to travel all the way from the West Coast. Jaguars, very, very hot team. They start off really poorly, but Peterson, Trevor Lawrence, that offense has got the team going. Barely sneak out a win against the Titans, the game they probably shouldn't have won if it wasn't for that fumble touchdown at the end of the game, but still. Trevor Lawrence and these Jags, they kind of remind me of the Bengals from last year. Pretty solid pass rush with Trayvon Walker, Arden Key, Josh Allen to go ahead with a young star quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. Really make a lot of strides this season. Good young running back, Travis Etienne. Got some wideouts in Kirk. He'll have Calvin Ridley next year. That pass rush, I mean, I've gone back and forth on this game, but I will take the home team in the Jacksonville Jaguars. I know a lot of people are going to be on the Chargers because they give the edge to Justin Herbert, and I do too, but they got a lot of injury concerns right now. Mike Williams should play, but will he be 100% healthy? That's yet to know. But yeah, I could see you going either way with this one. Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, it's really tough for me, but I'm going to give it to the home team, the Jags. They haven't done much in the playoffs since they had that AFC Championship run with Blake Bortles. Maybe they can spark some magic here, so I'll give them the nod in round 1. Only 1-point underdogs, which is kind of surprising against Justin Herbert, but I guess they could be the hottest team in the NFL right now, so we'll go along with them. Next matchup, we got Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals against the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson should play in this game. They actually just played last week. Like we talked about, another rematch like every other wildcard game this week. But I expect Lamar Jackson to play. J.K. Dobbins, these guys should be healthy and ready to go. But the Ravens' offense have just looked terrible without Lamar Jackson in the lineup. I don't know. First game back, there's probably going to be a little rust with Lamar. So Joe Burrow and Joe Mixon, they got something to prove this year, trying to get back to that Super Bowl after they lost a heartbreaking defeat to the Los Angeles Rams last year. I think the Bengals are still going to get it done. They almost had a 1 seed this year. So at home, I think this is going to be a lot closer than Vegas thinks. I think the spread is 6.5 at this point. I think Lamar Jackson keeps it close, but I think he's going to be a little bit too rusty, missing all this time just to jam him in for this playoff game. I'll take Joe Burrow at home to get it done and move on to the second round. All right, last game we got here, Miami versus Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. We don't know who the quarterback is for Miami right now. Tagovailoa dealing with a bunch of concussions. Really tough scene for Tua. Really want him to stay healthy because he looked pretty solid at most parts of this regular season. Teddy Bridgewater's probably going to be the starting quarterback. A couple guys banged up on that team. It's going to be tough for Miami. I think they're 11-point underdogs, so Vegas doesn't think this game's going to be particularly close. Josh Allen, the Bills, they're running on emotion right now. Damar Hamlin, pretty sad story, but luckily he's doing a lot better. He's all over social media, so he's going to be watching. So that's great for the Bills. I think they're going to ride that momentum into the second round. I don't think this game's going to be particularly close. We saw them a couple weeks back. The game was fairly close, but if Tua's not going to be playing, I don't think Miami has much of a chance to stop this powerful offensive attack that Buffalo's got with Josh Allen. I think he's going to steamroll over the Dolphins in the first round. All right, let's take it back up to the NFC. With the 5 seed Cowboys winning in the first round, they will play the number 1 seed Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia, Lincoln Financial Field. That game's going to be crazy. It's a tough matchup. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles getting the bye, so you worried about rust. Last season, actually, the 2 1 seeds both lost in the playoffs. Tennessee Titans losing to the Cincinnati Bengals, and Green Bay Packers losing to the 49ers. So we've seen 1 seeds getting this bye and losing in the second round recently. It's going to be tough. The Eagles have been easily the best team in the NFL. Jalen Hurts has made so much strides this season in the passing game, adding A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith breakout, and now Dallas Goedert back and healthy. So it's going to be tough, especially with that offensive line, one of the best units in the NFL, led by Jason Kelce. It's going to be tough to beat the Philadelphia Eagles in Philly with that crowd. But if there's a team to beat Philly, I think it's the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not even a Dallas Cowboys fan. I just think this team, if not now, then win for the Cowboys. They've been so disappointing for so long, choking in the playoffs last year to the 49ers like they do every single year, it seems. But man, this Cowboys team, I feel like, is just built to win in the playoffs. Dak Prescott hasn't looked great at times coming back from injury, but still one of the best rushing attacks in the NFL, led by Zeke Elliott and Tony Pollard. A great 1-2 punch in that backfield. CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, they got some weapons on the outside, but this team's led by their defense. I mean, it's Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, Trayvon Diggs. These guys are really how this team has been so productive this year. A very, very excellent season, overshadowed by the Eagles, obviously, in the NFC East. But man, this game's going to be tight, I think. Probably one of the best games in this postseason, if I had to guess, if they are to see each other in the second round. I'm going to give the edge to the Dallas Cowboys, pulling the upset in Philadelphia. I just think that defense is too strong with Micah Parsons. I'll give them the nod. Next game, we got Minnesota traveling to San Francisco. A lot of people, not, like I said earlier, not even putting Minnesota in this game. I think their defense really holding them back here if they were to meet the 49ers in the second round. Not able to stop the run. We know Shanahan, maybe one of the best offensive coach in the league right now. That rushing attack's going to be on point with Christian McCaffrey. George Kittle, Deebo Samuel coming back. A fully healthy 49ers team, even with Brock Purdy at quarterback. I think that's enough with such a porous Minnesota Vikings defense to get it done. I don't see how the 49ers will stop Justin Jefferson. Their secondary is probably the weakest portion of their team. But if that pass rush is so great and they're stopping the run on Dalvin Cook, I think they're going to be able to get to Kirk Cousins and limit their opportunities in the passing game. So I'm going to give the nod to the San Francisco 49ers at home against Kirk Cousins and the Vikings. All right, next game, we're going to the Jacksonville Jaguars visiting the Kansas City Chiefs. We had the Eagles going down as the 1 seed in the NFC. Chiefs, not so much. I think the Chiefs steamroll the Jaguars. It's a great story. Like I said, kind of reminds me of the Joe Burrow Bengals last year. This Jaguars team is not as well equipped on the offensive side of the ball. The receivers aren't as great as that Bengal receiving core they had last year. And this defense, while young and aggressive in the defensive line and pass rush, secondary's got a lot of holes. And I think Mahomes is going to torch them all day long in this matchup. I do like Trevor Lawrence going forward, but this not so much. In Arrowhead Stadium, one of the best places to play in the home in the playoffs. Give me Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes to move on to the AFC Championship game. All right, move now. We got Joe Burrow taking on Josh Allen. I don't know where this game's going to be played. I know they might have made a ruling on it. Let me know where this game is going to be played. I think it might be on a neutral site, but regardless, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, two of the best young quarterbacks in the NFL, both relying on their passing game, not getting much out of their rushing attack with Joe Mixon and then Devin Singletary, James Cook for the Buffalo. So led by their quarterbacks. I love both these quarterbacks. I love both of these defenses. I think Cincinnati is one of the most underrated defenses year in and year out the past couple of seasons, given how great they've been on offense. The defense kind of gets overshadowed. But Buffalo, they've been a solid defense, probably one of the best in the NFL the last couple of years. I'm going to give them the nod just because Josh Allen's mobility, I think, gives them an edge over Joe Burrow in this passing attack. So I will go with Josh Allen. Moving on, riding this emotional wave into the AFC Championship game against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, let's go to the NFC. Cowboys visiting San Francisco 49ers. We had Cowboys pulling the upset in Philly. Can they do it again in San Francisco? I'm saying yes. I think this is where Brock Purdy's experience comes into play. Dallas's defense is smothering on the defensive line. DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons, I think they can cause problems for Brock Purdy in this offense. The rushing game and defense is the only thing that travels in the NFL, and the Cowboys are probably one of the best combinations of that in the league. So if they can establish some Tony Pollard and Zeke Elliott in this game, I think Dak Prescott's just good enough to take advantage of that San Francisco weak secondary. And Brock Purdy hasn't faced a pass rush like the Cowboys yet this year. So I will take Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. I'm not a Cowboys fan. I know a lot of people are going to be probably trashing this pick, but still, Cowboys, you got to get it done eventually, right? We're tired of hearing "we dem boys," so let's go with the Cowboys to make it to the Super Bowl in the NFC. All right, now we got Buffalo and Kansas City, probably the best game of the year last season in the playoffs. Last season did not end up the way Josh Allen wanted it to. Mahomes only needed 13 seconds, goes to overtime, wins the coin flip, and wins the game. This season, teams are pretty much similar. They do lose Tyreek Hill, Chiefs do, but still, a lot of similar faces on this team. They know each other very well. They've played each other every year the past couple of seasons, it seems. And they always have great games. Bills getting the edge earlier this season. So Chiefs will have a little bit of chip on their shoulder. But I think Josh Allen, this is his year. This is his year to win the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl MVP. Prove to the NFL he is a top 3 quarterback in this league, right up there with Mahomes and the rest of them. I will take the Bills on the road, man. Bills Mafia is going to be going crazy. Chiefs Kingdom is going to be going crazy in this game. But I'll take Buffalo. Josh Allen just too much on the offensive side. And their defense gives them the edge over the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs, they've done well with the defense they have. But I think Tre'Davious White, those guys, they are ready. They've been circling this game, waiting to play Kansas City in the playoffs after what happened last year. I'm taking Buffalo to get the win in Kansas City. So that brings us to our Super Bowl matchup, Buffalo versus Dallas. Two great defenses, two very solid offenses, very different style of offenses, one led by the rushing attack, one led by Josh Allen in the throwing. Great game nonetheless. I'd be excited to see these two teams in the Super Bowl. Two great fan bases. I think this is where it ends for the Cowboys and Jerry Jones. I can't see them beating Josh Allen. That pass rush for Dallas probably keeps them in the game, but I think Josh Allen's mobility, his strength, size, and speed, too much for Micah Parsons in this defense. I will take Josh Allen to get his Super Bowl ring, get the Bills their first Super Bowl in I don't know how long. It's been so long since they had that stretch of losing Super Bowls in consecutive years. I'll take the Buffalo Bills to win the Super Bowl against the Dallas Cowboys. Let me know what y'all think of these picks. I know a lot of people are going to disagree and get upset, but let me know who you're picking in the Super Bowl and why. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next week with another episode of the Fantasy Birds.